Sorry. Okay. Also, and then physically, you feel more energized, alive. I don't know if that's physical or not. Explore sometimes. But happier, healthier. Yeah, more quick. Like, yeah, fast thinking. Your timing gets better because you kind of learn, well, because not learn, but you just like adjust to like a different speed in your mind, and most definitely in your reaction or non-reaction space that you would accomplish repeating it. So that's my reasons for why trying, and then some for why repeating. And then for me, like, I kind of like to make everything a big deal, in case you haven't noticed. And that means, like, first of all, if you don't like calling it meditation, name it something else. Call it your quiet time. Call it, what did I write down? My mind time, my prayer, or like personal time, healing time, um, personal attunement, alignment time. I put superhero charging, but I wasn't really joking. Like, some people, and I'm not going to say I'm not one of them. I don't really say it like in my serious space. But like some people do compare the difference in like superhero. And I feel like that's why I won't stop doing it. So I guess maybe, I don't know. I just don't use the term superhero. I just feel like happy and like excited. And that to me is enough. But anyway, and then because I like to make everything a big deal, most of the people that I talk to have their own home, or at least their own room. So considering that, wherever your home or room is, set up a place and call this the space where you do this, whatever it is. I mean, obviously, if you can't do that, you could still do this in like a floating space, but get like a little pouch to hold a few things that you can like help physically also bring you into that space faster. And that's why for me when I teach this, especially because for me this is the way that I could only learn it. I like to do as many things at the same time. And then in the beginning, it's just a matter of kind of shifting your focus. Like, oh, I'll stare at the candle for a little while. And then I get a little bored of that, so I close my eyes and I'm listening now more to the music. And then maybe, like shifts that way. And the next thing you know, maybe, your body is swaying, or maybe you've started humming, or maybe your eyes have opened again and you're now focusing on something else, or maybe the incense has caught your attention. But I kind of like to teach it not as quieting your mind, but just letting your senses just kind of play, but purposely doing it all in your favorite stuff. And you may find that some of your favorite stuff is not your favorite. Like, I've bought things thinking, oh my God, this is going to smell great, and then being like, ragey. Ragey is, I was going to say murder, but I didn't kill anyone, so ragey was appropriate. I felt like it. When things don't smell good, it makes me like a lunatic. So, if you're sensitive and ragey, you may want to test them before you try to get quiet. So, okay. So find a little space if you can, or otherwise get some little bag or something that is just a container of your space. So it's still your space, and it's just your space wherever you take it. It's totally so cool. I mean, my space wasn't a space. It was a kitchen counter and then the floor for like a year. That was before I had a space. So, and then it was, I don't even know. I guess it was always the kitchen counter for a long time. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, not important. So, okay, where are we at? So that's what, name it. Call it what you want it. But the idea of meditation. So what are we doing when we meditate? We are like slowing down our thoughts, slowing down our breathing, slowing down our heart rate, slowing down our nervous system on purpose. So it is a thing. You're not just sitting there. You're, if anything else, just quiet. If you like that, if you like a word, that would be one of the things too. Like, sometimes I'll just say love, 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 love. But you could also say peace, 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 or just quiet, quiet, quiet. And just like, use any way you can to try to say, hey, body, we're doing this. And I like doing it that way because it's faster. And I'm impatient. And also, I just feel like it's more forgiving and it's more playful. And that's my fucking jam. So, so for me, like right now, I would come down in the basement. I have a candle. I have my crystals. I don't always touch my crystals. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I kind of bring them around me just for whatever energy I'm wanting more of, or whatever feeling or chakra I'm trying to enhance or strengthen. Always water because I'm thirsty as fuck. And then like smells, again, carefully because I'm super not cool with that. Lighting, I totally always adjust my lighting for me, which is usually pretty dim because I just don't need all that. I always think about like the gremlins and it's like bright light. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, sort of. Anyway, so lighting, like, but this can start small. Pick a space, name your time, my me time, my personal time my check in, my self care, my commitment to me. Make it only 10 minutes to start. If you don't want it to be long, I probably would only do like 10 or 15 minutes to get started. And if you think so also, I'm the kind of person that needs to get ready, to get ready, to get ready because I need to convince myself 75 times this is actually something worth my time doing because I almost always resist anything that's good for me. In fact, it's almost always the case. So I would start for me just building all the things like, like Hammy, he belongs here. He's in my comfy space, right? Um, so I kind of like when I was first starting this, I got a notebook. So I recommend getting like a notebook or a journal, or just leave some paper by your space for your thoughts. That's another way that I like to do it. I don't really like to go right in with hard questions, especially when you're new to this, because I don't think you're going to feel like you're getting results. That's a whole other topic we don't really shouldn't go into right now because then we're going to get lost in the sauce. But let's just say, for the sake of just sometimes when something pops into my head, like a word or a phrase, if I don't write it down, I'm not going to be able to like get back even into my zone of all the zones. So I just like to write it down and then I feel like, okay, it's just like hold that for me so that I won't forget it while I'm over here playing. So it's just like a pause. I'm not forgetting it. I'm not releasing it. I'm just like putting it over here so I can go back to this. Because I like to spend as many minutes as I can in this space because it does a lot of things for me. It recharges my body. It quiets my mind. It gives me clarity about anything that I've been thinking. If I have written something down on this page, I would turn it. So while I'm in my thought process, I don't want to look down and see, I don't want to be like influenced by my writing because a lot of times when I flip the page, my writing doesn't even look the same. So I don't want to be influenced to whoever or however I wrote that word or request on this page. I like to be like totally like blank slate. I'd still do the same book, but I just don't have the same page. My brain is, I'm not thinking with my human emotional, I'm turning this part off. So I don't need to remember the part that I'm not like the part that I want to help doesn't need to look at my words. You know what I'm saying? So I just like the clear space and then I don't want the interruptions. So the blank page means I get all this without any of my mumbo jumbo clouding up the thing. But over here, when I write it down, it just helps me. Okay, I feel like I've acknowledged it. This is a form of human efforting that I totally endorse. Not like long, extensive journaling where your pen's dying and you had to, oh gosh, I'm not doing that right now. But I don't think you have to make it like a hard thing. Um, I think if you would consider doing more of this kind of work before going after an action, you'd find the action that you take would be more beneficial and inspired and effective. I feel like most, if not going to say all, but most successful people, they all probably do, they just don't call it that. But most successful people like meditate or do some sort of, hey, get me in my space, which is like meditation is just so that you can be fully connected to your human and emotional and mental and metaphysicals, like all your energy layers at the same time. And then to have the inspired ideas from our source, from our God, from energy, from the universe, from whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing. But so the same way when people pray and, they're hearing messages back, it's the same thing. Like, I know a lot of times it seems like this is sticky wording, and I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm not trying to say, it's not God, it is God. I just, I don't want to, I don't want to get lost there. So yeah, but quieting this mind so that you can hear, from here. And just for a few minutes, I'm going to just talk about that. You won't hear words likely. It'll just be like, oh, is that an idea? And it might seem super random. Those are the ones that I encourage you to at least write down. If not, fulfill them and do them quickly. And then reward yourself. But that's more later. Where would you ever go with that? Oh, okay. So yeah, so the journal thing, I already talked about that. Well, I don't really want to encourage, like, ask a bunch of questions. I would say if for fun you have something to pick, write that down and then flip the page. But I wouldn't go straight to like serious life-changing or altering questions like right out the gate. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I just don't want you to be upset. And I don't want it to be something that's influenced from fear or anxiety, because that was my next thought is if you start feeling anxious, take a break, turn something off, turn your body away, shut your eyes, lay down, or lay back, sit back, and take a break, breathe. Breathing is one of our best friends and our most underappreciated parts of us, I think. At least for me. I'm speaking totally for me here. Part of my latest practice has been incorporating my breath more and appreciating it and acknowledging it and powering it and using it to power me and using it to give me strength, particularly in my throat chakra, because I needs it. Anyway, so then I wanted to just talk about what it feels to be in alignment, because I don't feel like a lot of people do this. But I'm going to come straight out and talk about what it feels like for me. It's like a rush of energy, like when you get chills. And for me, it's like chills and they just keep lasting and building and like heightening. It can feel like waves, like dizziness. If my eyes are closed, colors or images can pop into my mind, or whatever you call the thing is when you shut your eyes. Definitely for me, I get the best ideas, like, and I know, like, because I get like I can barely sit still. That's why I need the paper there, just because that's my way of like, okay, I promise we'll do it, can we just stay one more minute? Because like, like recently I've been trying to hammer myself down and do the whole like time, but before, like, I'm literally busting out of my ass like 7 minutes in, because like I got like a whole page of shit that I just can't wait to do. But yeah, I'm trying to give myself the whole time for the things that it's good for my body, because it is, it helps our body like repair our cells and make connections in our brain that are really good for our thought processing, and to help us make better choices, like better choices that are good for us as a whole person, like our whole person, not just the person that wants to please our boss or our partner, like, so this may be like the beginning of an inward journey for some people. Like, you may sit there and find that, life is calling you in a different direction. And that's why I like the idea of the journal too, because maybe sometimes it's just a word, and a word triggers, oh, I know what they're talking about. It's time that I start, I've really always wanted to learn about this. It's time I do that. Or it's always time I've wanted to travel to wherever. I should do that. It might seem like this isn't important to life. This isn't how you're going to pay BG&E. But this is the shit that's important to your soul, and this is how you learn. And it's not because you have to go like jump on the plane to Europe, but just start paying attention to it. And then that's how you start to like nurture your relationship with your intuition, and your inner guidance can be so much bigger than just when I'm sitting here quiet. Which gets me back to my point of liking to do it a whole bunch at the same time. And when I mean a whole bunch, like I mean a whole bunch. I need sound. Usually I have two sounds. Like I like my down here our heat. The vent is so loud it's like a plane, and that's usually what I sleep to. Except lately I've been doing some other things. But anyway, I like a jet plane, like I love that sound. It makes my brain be like, zoink. I go right to sleep. That's another thing. I don't have any trouble falling asleep. Clearly I have no trouble waking up. Health-wise, aside from this cold that is not just a cold, but I'm not getting into that here either, we're working on it. Like, I'm pretty healthy. I'm pretty happy. It's consistent as fuck now. Like, in the beginning, it was a little bit more work than now. Like, now it's like I have the momentum going, and I'm kind of just building and sharing and just getting bigger and bigger. And it's like, yeah, now it's fun, Now it doesn't feel like so much like work. It's like more play. Anyway, like now I get to, yeah, anyway. So I just wanted to like share that. So start with like 10 minutes. Do a timer. I still do a timer. I need to know that the timer is coming. Especially because like I worried I'd fall asleep in the beginning. And in the beginning I fell asleep every single time. It never failed. Months I'd just fall asleep. And then I quit doing it because I felt like I didn't really need a nap all the time. Apparently I did. So, but the timer went off, Get a little notebook or paper. And then as you go, I always have something comfy, like a pillow, a blankie. I mean, I have all the above, and then socks, and then a hamster, and everything else. But just start simple. Start creating the space. When you're out at Giant or whatever, getting something, and you see like a cute like something, or maybe it's a chocolates, or maybe like, and I know people aren't like, I don't know. I don't think having taste and in my like pleasure here is bad. Like, I have water and coffee. I already did eat because it is 2:00, and I'd be feeling way weird because it's totally 2:00. Okay, yeah, I had chili, so I'm not like hungry. But there's been plenty of times when like I've been coming off of like my morning, which sometimes involves a 2.5-year-old who runs things. So I'm not saying that I'm not responsible for my mood, but sometimes it's way easier to be happier than others. Duh. So sometimes like I will bite a piece of chocolate because it just makes everything like, oh, hi. And it's fast. And it's delicious. But whatever. If you're spiritual, if you like sentimental things that make you feel about only positive, loving things, don't get anything that's going to rip your guts out because it's torture. And this is not about torture. This is like an inward journey about like learning to connect to yourself, to ultimately reach for a space of allowing more love from yourself. Like, because when you're doing this, when you're being quiet, all the worrying, all the stress, all the doubts, all the negative talk you've heard other people say, all of that stops. And for me, it takes 3 usually things. But I started, and I usually still set up a whole shitload. I just don't really play with them. But I will set up my corner. I get my comfy space. I have my times, morning, afternoon, night. And if I feel like, anyway. But yeah, I like to meditate 3 times a day. But I'm really fucking committed. Like, this is my whole, like, whatever. But I'm saying once a day. The morning is great for this. But wherever you have the time that it doesn't feel like it's going to be a nuisance, and you can kind of like indulge. If you're feeling like, oh my God, I got to rush, it's not going to be nearly as enjoyable. And I want you to reach for enjoyable, satisfying, pleasurable. Quiet, the mindable is fucking boring, or you'd already be meditating. Um, so pick things that are special to you. When you're doing it, say to yourself, this is for my me time. This is for my superhero time. This is for my prayer space. This is for my personal routine, my personal self-care practice, my personal altar space, my personal healing space, my personal yoga space, whatever it is that you're wanting to create. Even if you're not ready to build it all into a space, just start calling it your space between yourself and yourself. You can just say it in your mind. This pen is going to be my special pen. This book will be my special book. I know I picked up a mouse, whatever. Oh, whoops, sorry, y'all. This mug will be my favorite. Like, I always like to drink out of this big guy because I don't want to say it out loud because it sounds so cheesy, but I like the cup only half full. But I need a whole cup. But I can't, it really doesn't make any sense. But I don't want the water to touch my face. And I need it to be really, really cold. But I drink really fast. So I need like a whole cup and a half cup. Like, it makes sense. But like when I say it out loud, it makes me sound like I got real mad issues. But I really drink a lot of water, and I want to be able to like waterfalls. Anyway, I went way too serious there. So hold on, let me make sure I got everything. Okay. So yeah, I want you to reach for, I'm doing this because it's for fun, it's for pleasure, it's for taking care of myself. There is nothing that, okay, I'm not going to say that because, anybody, shut up, Nancy. So you're setting up your space. You don't have anywhere to rush. You can set your timer for 10 minutes or 15 minutes without like, oh my God, I only have 10 minutes and 1 second. If you have that, just squash the idea or cut your time in half. 7 minutes is still 7 minutes. Decide what you're going to do. Get your things set up. Get yourself comfortable, get into a comfortable seat. Take your shoes off for the 7 minutes. Just unhook your bra for the 7 minutes and let your body just breathe a little. Like, sink back into your seat, Unclench your jaw. Make sure you're not pressing your tongue. Relax your eyes. Squeeze them and relax them. Squeeze your whole face, Like, try to make your body, really shut the fuck up for 1 minute. And just take all of you in. Because this fucking feels good. And it's good for us. Like, we're humans. And we all are the same. And just because I go around doing this on Facebook, and other people do things the same thing differently, there are a lot of people who aren't understanding how good this is for us. And I don't think it's because they don't get it. I just think that they don't realize, how many different ways, how many different spaces and aspects of our life that this will only improve. There's nowhere to go but up once you start doing this. And this is even if everything is good. It's just to spend more time just quieting the mind. I call it my time under the bridge because that makes me feel way more better than meditating because meditating is fucking boring. Well, that was just my already decided belief. And it just seemed easier to build a road around that, which is also one of my favorite things to teach because fuck that mess. Anyway, I like my time under the bridge. And I can take big breaths. And I let it all out. And usually now, I can get my mind pretty quiet, But I like also my other last thought about teaching them multiple ways. When I was first teaching myself yoga, I had to have the notes because I couldn't follow on YouTube. It was way too distracting. So I'd watch a little bit of a clip and then draw figures and then teach myself and watch in the mirror and then I could record. It was way easier to see my body and then look it back up and then see where I need to shift my shoulders. I need to turn my elbows in. You know what I mean? And I did it like that. But also because I had the kids all the time, sometimes my house was so full of children. Like, oh my God. But there were children everywhere. And I was self-teaching myself yoga, and I wasn't killing anyone. So it was like that was already starting to practice. Like, it was for that, it was music, sounds, crystals, just like a lot of things just to help me calm down. And yoga was like the first thing that helped me realize, oh, this is what meditation feels like. Totally by accident, but like that was when I was like, I could do that again. And that's kind of why I like to explain like some of the feelings, like, and sometimes like the breathing, you'll feel little tingles, you'll feel warm and cold. That's just signs of different like life energy, force, prana moving around in your body. Like, let all those things go. And when you're feeling them, I wanted to get there. I'm so glad I'm here. When you're feeling them, if it feels scary, think or say out loud, I know what this is, and it feels a little overwhelming. And just shake your head a little or breathe. Say right out loud, I'd like it to be a little less intense, please. For me, I'm always like, I'm allowing. Bring it on, bitches. But I only call my spirit bitches anymore. I just realized that earlier when I was writing. I was like, oh, I don't say that out loud. But like when I'm talking like playfully to myself, I totally call us bitches. So, but yeah. But like, so anyway, like you kind of learn like your own like words, mantras, affirmations. And again, like I'll send some like links for different sounds, different musics that are really nice to like tune into and just like, get lost like in some of the drums or the frequency sounds that are aligned with our chakras. If any of you are into that, that's super fun. Like if you just are working on a certain one that day, or if you're seeing a color, this is when it gets really fun. Like if you're just, oh my God, all of a sudden oranges everywhere. Well, then you could go Google, hey, which sound, which tune goes to orange? And then when you go down to sit down, tell yourself, hey, self, we've been seeing orange. I got the sacral chakra tune. Let's do this, And just sit there and like, just spend some time just really just loving yourself, loving your favorite things and letting them float around. And if you don't feel like you totally necessarily, you will. You will. Like when you're sitting there staring at something that has just got your eye like the flicker of the candle right now, it just looks great. Who can't do that for a minute? And then breathe, and then you got other things going on. And then like when it gets boring, or when it just like your eyes just don't want to stay, like I'll let my eyes stay. Like the candle's still doing the same motion. So like it's like a standoff now, right? It's like you or me, who's doing this? Now it's getting faster, so I'm thinking it's going to stop soon. But I'm getting super blinky, so now it's making me dizzy on purpose. I guess he wins. Fire wins. Fire won. Nancy 0. Oh. I don't fuck with fire. Fire wins every time. For the record, fire wins every time. Just saying. Burn my whole fucking house down. Family house, not mine. Okay, back to here. Don't talk about fire when you're meditating. Unless you're a freak like that. Just kidding. It's not nice, Nancy. So yeah, personalize it, own it, make it your time. Start small. Start 10 minutes. Start like today. I just get my favorite pen. Maybe the next day you get a book. Take as much time as you need to get ready for it. Maybe the first day you just have everything set up and you just walk by it and just look at it and you just consider, And then you're looking at it. Maybe you're over there washing the dishes, which you could also do another time, or maybe you could make somebody else do it. And maybe you're thinking, I could probably use this time right now. Because for me, I have to shift it around when the girls are in school. Because I could wash all the dishes right now while it's quiet, but it's quiet. They'll be back soon. It won't be quiet. And I can still wash the dishes. And for me, that was an easy shift in priority. Like, you know what I mean? And then again, like maybe that doesn't work for everybody. But I feel like when you sit down and individually look at things, and I'm happy to do that. This is something that I do on the regs. That sounds funny, like on the rag. But like just see like little times in people's day. Like I incorporate bathroom time in this. Like there are so many moments that we're doing things on the way to do things, or just to get to the other things, or just to get done to do other things. And in all those minutes that we're just like squashing and getting out of the way, dropping in and just being like, oh, hi, me. And that's why I like to do the multiple things also at first, because then is a whole entire statement. Sorry. Because then, when you're out, for me, when I'm in crowds, it can be really overwhelming. But because I like to practice different ways of quieting my mind, I can usually almost always pick up on one thing that I can listen to and just not be like, oh God, this is the worst. Or visually, I can find like something to stare at. Or like a lot of times there's music on. Music's always easy, and it's always wonderful for everything. Singing, some people like to sing, chant, mantra, like say words out loud. Sometimes I say words and just think them and say them and think them. Like when last night when I was getting anxious about my phone, even though I knew it was not really lost. Like, oh no, I talked too loud. I was just trying to calm myself down. And one of my favorites is I know. So I was quieting my mind and I'm telling myself, I know, it's okay, I know. And like it's just another vibration. It's another way of connecting all of it. And especially when you have words that you practice at home quietly, when the shit hits the fan at the office, or when this bitch done come at you again. Sorry, I don't keep saying bitch today. I must be, never mind, too much. Anyway, you can say in your head your little personal mantra that you practice in this space that you've created just for you, just to love you, just to build strength in you, just to build confidence in you, just to build love in you, just for you. It's not just for 10 fucking minutes. It's so you can start making it stronger and incorporating it in the day, so that when you take a walk when you walk across the parking lot, you think positive thoughts in your head. Maybe you do your mantra. Maybe you do something with your hands. Maybe a gesture. Maybe you put your hands on your body. Maybe you walk a certain way. Maybe you play with a breath work across the parking lot. Like these are simple, like 1-2 minute meditations, 30 seconds, drop in highs that make a huge shift in your everyday life. And that's for any single person, because like when it comes to talking to us like a species, we're all the same that way. Not everybody likes all the same things. That's why I like you to just pick your own shit. And then like if it's not working, squash it. Sometimes like if I think it's meant to be there, it's pretty or something, and I don't want to use it, I'll just keep it. And then maybe it'll morph into something else, or maybe I'll lose it later. But, just let it be your own little space. And let it be like clean and clear and beautiful though. You know what I mean? Don't like muck it up. Don't put your fucking bill there and leave it. Treat that one little space like, this is my space. Oh, this is it. This is my space that I create out loud, that I have out loud, okay, maybe you purposely manifested it. We're not going to get into that right now. This is a manifested out loud space that I've created to acknowledge to my human self, human. We like all these things. We like the smell, the taste, the touch. We like all that. Our body is made to do that. This is my human space. My body likes to do all these things, so that I'm inviting an equal flow, an equal in, an equal out, a replenishing, a rejuvenating, an enlightening experience. Because you know what? Your inner being, because I don't have another word right now, your inner being likes all the things you like. When you get your chills, that's literally your source being like, yep. Could you imagine having chills for like minutes at a time? Like having rushes, just like, it's pretty intense. Like just feeling like you're like so in your jam, just like emotionally or mentally, whatever you're thinking on, whatever you're focusing on. If you're daydreaming, keep doing that because that's really good stuff too. You know, like whenever you're enjoying like your visuals or your writing or your singing and it feels really good and your whole body gets into it, let all that happen because that like quieting your mind is an easy way of just across the board quiet your mind so you can but in reality people fucking don't like quieting their mind and it's hard and it turns people away. But if you could just sit and let your mind play for 10 minutes in your own space that you create just for you, I think you'll find a different outcome. And I think you'll be excited for your 10 minutes. And maybe you don't have 10 minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes in the morning. Maybe it's, whatever. But I feel like if you can commit to trying it and then just seeing what comes and like noticing it and slowing down and just trying to let it land and just really trying to let it be for real, just for a few days or a week even. Like I think you'll find yourself like looking forward to this time and investing more into it. Like, maybe you'll get a journal. Maybe you'll get a favorite pen. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll buy an incense. Maybe you'll buy an oil. Maybe you'll buy a rock or 6,000. you know? But just let yourself in your space that you create all for you to please all of your human outside things and your spiritual things at the same time, just let it play. And I think you'll find a whole different thing. And don't make it be about solving world fucking peace. Don't let it be about the job. Don't let it be about the bills. Like those things will straighten out. I'm not going to go into why, but they will. I learned that all by accident. I just wanted to be happier. I didn't give a fuck if I couldn't pay another fucking bill again. But everything wiggles out when you find more time whole connected or allowing more positive momentum and positive feelings and your the whole self of you to just be with you and give you those advantages, give you those extra strengths, those things like, how do I know how to do that? How did I know how to get there? How did I know this? Like, this is something that we all have, and it doesn't have to be so random. It can be really fun, and then it can be really purposeful, and then it's really fun.